On September 30th, 2024, I was supposed to make a video commemorating Project Sekai's 4th anniversary. The script was drafted in short and sparse moments of motivation, and unsurprisingly ended up being just hollow and languid. Even if I greenlit the script, the voiceover was absolutely depressing. And then I took my hiatus. I tell you this because I was in a moment of conflict. Did I actually like Project Sekai, or was I just making a video out of an obligation for an occasion? Out of a certain duty felt I having the title of prsktuber. And if you couldn't tell, I came to a decision. I do love Project Sekai. For as much pain as I felt associated with the franchise, I am now filled with a budding love for the funny Hatsune Miku Tap game. My name is FructoseTolerant, and today I'd like to talk to you about what Project Sekai truly means to me. I've enjoyed Project Sekai for a while, 3 years to be exact, and throughout those years I've grown alongside the franchise, from myself as a person, to my video making skills, and even my Project Sekai preferences. I did have a point where I genuinely couldn't stand the franchise due to feeling that I had to present an artificial enjoyment of it when I much preferred other media. But of course, this has changed. This video is dedicated to many people. It is dedicated to 7-Eleven Sekai, a group of friends I met online and would later on meet in real life, who reignited my love for Project Sekai. And it is also dedicated to my Project Sekai viewers who still stick with me today, despite not having uploaded any press content in a year. This channel has gone through a lot of changes, and FructoseTolerant is a reflection of myself. And my favorites have changed as much as I have. I started with Matthew as my favorite since I picked up Project Sekai in the early years of my depression, then jumped to Anna when I was taking art more seriously, and finally landed on Irie as my favorite as I navigated the world of posting online. And as my videos go, I resonated with Irie. I understood her struggles, and I found the same enjoyer I saw myself in her. Irie loved idols, and so she wanted to be one, a beacon of hope for her fans. But she was only shafted to be a variety TV star as those brought in more numbers. She was a girl who wanted to be noticed, a girl who knew that only hard work doesn't always lead to success. But that very girl still had the love for idols within her, as when she would think of how her agency disregarded her idol activities, she would become bitter and snapped at others, only to feel guilty afterwards. Though of course, this love for idols would continue to bloom and her bitterness would subside when she joined Murmur Jump. This is the basis of Irie's character in the story. And when I look at this, it almost feels like I am looking at a mirror. I love video essays. In 2017, I found myself on the Hell app known as Amino, and took up blogging as a hobby, writing about the associations I made with Pokemon and the things around me. Then as I grew up, I tackled a more advanced topic with my love for media analysis guiding my every step. Irie is a person filled with love for the things she enjoys as well as her friends. This is what the I part of her name stands for. This love of course naturally leads her to work hard at becoming an idol, leads her to become so attached to her idol work and naturally frustrated when that isn't what is pushed of her, what is that people know her for. While Irie, God bless her soul, isn't attached to numbers, at multiple points in time I was really worried about the things like views and the perception that my viewers had of me. There was a point in time where I didn't really enjoy Project Sekai and I was just pushing myself instead of doing what I truly wanted to do. And when I did enjoy working on what I loved, it felt like it was futile. Is this what I really want? It took a while to come back to my roots, to the mind that got me started. But in the end, passion does shine through. As Irie was both admiring Shizuku's charms yet was also jealous of her and her opportunities, so was I, looking up to other channels while crying about my own. But I know better now. It's better to look forward, work hard, and hold a deep love for what I am doing, to show them who I can be. And it's great characters like Irie that remind me why I love Project Sekai. I love and connect with the characters I see in my shoes. The way she acts is realistic. Having felt the brunt of the entertainment industry and having been treated as a laughingstock when she didn't see, she is quick to feel disheartened and dwell on old experiences. But through the story of Time to Restart, she faces the problems with a positive attitude that helps her find a way out. In Happy Lovely Everyday, she comes to see that her variety work isn't futile, and that she was able to spread hope as an MC. As someone who dearly loves her friends, she finds it hard to let go as Momo Jump focuses more on her idol activities and Mutai friendship. I would absolutely love to continue talking about Airi, but this isn't a Why I Love Moment Airi video. It's more of a Why I Love Project Sekai video. And so I'd like to talk about all the aspects of Project Sekai that I love so much. From the cards to the songs to everything that makes Project Sekai great. Let's get to it. My first ever Project Sekai analysis video was about Mafuyu, and her Carnation Recollection card was at the center of it. In 2021, Mafuyu was my absolute favorite character at the time. And when the Carnation Recollection gacha quickly rolled around, I was set on getting this card. The untrained art shows Mafuyu with a somber but soft expression, a touch of warm light illuminating the bottom right corner, contrasting with the coldness of the empty Sekai. The trained art beautifully plays with the lighting contrast with its top left corner, now being the origin point of the warm light, and the bottom right corner being the one basked in the shadows of mechanical gears. Mafuyu is between the two worlds. White carnation petals fall from the direction of the light, while the full flowers themselves litter the floor, covered with strips of grid paper. Clematis vines bind Mafuyu to the ground. She reaches out towards the light with a weak hand, with her eyes gazing at how, despite those petals being in reach, she can't help but hesitate. I love this card and still do, despite it being so old, not because it is a jackpot of symbolism, but because it was the first card I ever really wanted. It was my first dream card. I spent the late days of June grinding up gems to reform the 10 Land banner. Despite all my efforts, I didn't get her at all. And so the story goes in late September, Mirage of Lights arrives. I didn't get her. In December, Intersecting Melodies rolls around, and I didn't get that limited Mafuyu. I did not get a single Mafuyu throughout any of the raid-ups. Through this odyssey, the only thing that survived was my love for Mafuyu, and the ones that didn't were my sanity and 87k gems total. Despite this story happening 3 years ago, I still remember it vividly because it was the first time in a long while that I had a firm saving goal. I will be honest, I am a gacha addict. I see some pretty card or meta unit and I just pull. Spend. But this is different. I was not pulling for the joys of gambling, but for Mafuyu herself. It was a feeling that I had only for Mafuyu, and that was at its strongest even now. Mafuyu was my character. This bond was built through both story and gacha, forged through fire. And at the time, I was still pretending to be a good student who performed well on all her grades, studying in a field that I genuinely wasn't interested in. So when I saw the painful fabricated smile that was worn in the day, followed by the eyes void of light present at night, I was captivated. Her character clicked with me. Someone who was so torn between their own desires and following the desires of their family that they had forgotten what it means to dream for themselves. Someone who had a gaping void in their hearts that they can't even try to fill because it would seem unsightly to have one in the first place. Someone who seems to have everything, yet doesn't actually have anything at all. And through my personal experiences, what was originally just a PNG of an anime character became something special to me. And this isn't the first time that this has happened either. I hold deep attachment towards other cards too, like Awake Now An. When the Awake Now set was freshly released on the JP server, it was when I was still studying the sciences, chemistry, biology, and physics. It was a really stressful time. Before entering secondary school, I was really good at pretty much everything, except for Thai. But then everything flipped on its head. Everything got so much harder. I was a gifted kid out of her glory days. My best friend was still maintaining her grades, but I was lagging further and further behind. It was a struggle to fully realize the reality of things. It was a struggle to study days and days on end. The feelings I felt when I realized that I wasn't on par with someone who I considered as an equal to me was perfectly illustrated in An's straight artwork. I couldn't do well like I always had. The feeling of breaking out of it, reading up on chemical reactions and the systems of the human body whenever I could, was what made me resonate with An's gendered art. And that little event is honestly why a small corner of my heart is reserved for An. And while Awake Now dropped later, the song perfectly depicts the same emotions that are in the card and in turn, my own feelings. And despite that being all the way in the year 2020, I still relate to Awake Now. But we're focusing on the cards now, so back on topic. Back to Irie. That's right, I know Irie streamer likes the streamers that can't be more cliche. But let me explain. The set came around when I started taking streaming more seriously, as well as when I really began to like Irie. I like to call that time period Season 3 of FructoseTolerant. A time where I felt impervious, the start of the real chase to becoming the YouTuber of my dreams. Someone who was self-made, who drew her own thumbnails, who edited her own videos, who wanted to give it everything that she got. I threw the idea of my art isn't good enough to be in a thumbnail out of the window. I grinded. I learned new things, I kept on drawing, I kept on writing, I kept on watching, I kept on editing. As I look back on my old videos and see how much I improved, I like to think that the me from 2 years ago would admire the current me today. I went from editing in iMovie to now using DaVinci Resolve to edit. I also find it really neat how this is the event to receive the streamer aesthetic, seeing as how one of Jum's unique traits is how they stream and post videos. This is their own way of spreading hope. When chasing your ideals, it is important to keep the traits that make you unique. It will always help you to shine even brighter. While I also stream, albeit very poorly.
No! What? Why?
I keep my video essays near and dear to my heart. They are proof of my experience, proof that I existed alongside the things I love. And so, I really want to tier for Irie 5. Maybe I'll nab the tier 500 title or even higher. Irie is so near and dear to me because I understand how she wants to stand alongside the idols that she admired and got her started in the first place. If you'd like to support me in this journey and peer pressure me to save, please feel free to join the Discord. It's always best to enjoy things with other people. Double the people, double the fun. And no, I'm not just plugging the Discord. I mentioned in the intro that it is thanks to my friends and the people around me that rejuvenated my love in Project Sekai again. It is thanks to my dear friends that I've gotten a soft spot for Tsukasa, whom I never paid attention to, yet I actively pulled for his first anniversary card and got 3 copies of Minori before getting him. It is thanks to my viewers that I have a soft spot for Kamade, who I've come to realize is sort of like me in some senses. Going to the Project Sekai collab cafe at Animate was so much more fun with my friends as we partook in the gacha together. My love for Irie actually began when an old friend of mine lured him to me. Connections are so important in enjoying things, and I hope to spread this to you as well. Whether you are new to Project Sekai or are a veteran, feel free to join the Discord. Back to talking about more cards. 2024 was an incredible year for Project Sekai cards. We opened the new year with Mizuki, Shiho, and Meiko, these bringing beautiful Japanese patterns and cute details like the outfit that Mizuki's sister made for her. Then we had the rest of the worldlings other than Nigo, which are all so stunning. And of course, the anniversary cards were so good this year, with Enna giving into the Shinonome gene of doing the active pose. I'll have to say though that the set of the year goes to Enna 5, and I'm sure many of you agree. The cards are warm and welcoming. The cherry blossoms bloom in late November, dyeing the card in pink. Despite the harsh circumstances, Enna and Nigo will always welcome Mizuki. Despite the hands covered in wounds, they still hold each other with a warm embrace. It's beautiful to see how the 3-year-long arc of Mizuki's secret, while almost hinging on absolute despair, ends with such a tender ending. Enna's persistence and care for the people that she loves is what Mizuki, who has been through so much, deserves. And of course, this set is so good on its own, but coupled with the story and the cards that precede it, it becomes peak. Speaking of Mizuena, one of the reasons why I got into Project Sekai was because I heard Soulful Love Story in passing, and got curious. The songs of Project Sekai are intrinsically tied to the media as a whole, with the Vocaloid producers being commissioned to make songs for the game. One of the traits that made Project Sekai stand out. It's the exciting thought of hearing Minosuke and Haruno's stylish beats in a song for an idol group, or seeing the evolution of Giga's music present both in a fictional setting as well as our real world. It is these what-ifs that make Project Sekai commissioned songs so interesting. I never thought that Koyori, the person behind Hito Rainbow Envy, would be commissioned for Wonderland's showtime, but Hakoniwa no Coral is an absolute banger. With the arrival of Kimi no Yoru mo Kura, it marks the one and only Furukawa Funpul's first Vocaloid song in 11 years. Rarely's take on Anna's situation, R906's perspective on Minori's story, and Star Luna's vision for both Ichika and Unit as a whole. These are all unique to each producer. Every time a new commissioned song is announced, I am ecstatic. With Toya 5 songs slated to be made by No Fruits by the time of this script, I find myself listening to their songs again, not just Troy Kolage, but also hits like Traffic Jam, and their latest song, Funny Insipid Candy Vendor. As each song contains that producer's own unique perspective, we also get to see the hallmarks at what makes their music great in Project Sekai. Today, I'd like to talk about Kariki Bear, Wara Takeaki, and Iwa in detail. I've also compiled a playlist of my favorite commission song and covers, which will be in the pin. Let's start with Bug by Kariki Bear, with the song absolutely flexing their lyrical capabilities, while the looping instrumental portrays what seems to be an inescapable hell for Mafiu. The intro is brutal and bashing, followed by the crazy piano. The bug in the title can refer to two things. One, of course, being a literal bug, something that Samsa will build onto later, an unwanted creature, a pest that needs to be rid of. The other matches the technological theme of the song, a programming bug, an error in the system. The melody is so broken and glitched, yet it's still a great listen. I'd argue it's what makes the song great. The word choice of the lyrics are like that of a child, one who is lost amidst the paranoia, one who has cut off an escape route. Paranoia is one of the key words here because Mafiu is supposed to be able to trust her mother. Knowing otherwise brings paranoia. The very first lyrics of the song are a reference to the flashback we see in the story where she got lost in Phoenix Wonderland. The chorus of the lyrics shows Mafiu's despair. She has felt empty for so long that it feels like she's been stuck in that loop forever. The lyrics, "Your affection's just off the mark, I hate it so," seals the deal for me. Mafiu now knows that her mother's affection is just not right, and the inner child in her, who has been suffering this whole time, hates it. However, my absolute favorite line is this one. Good girl, the one flooding the chat system with good job is the administrator. The administrator here is an obvious reference to Mafu Mom. She floods Mafi's brain with praise, distracting her away from the emotional abuse and control she constricts on Mafiu. The chat refers to their everyday interactions and reflects on how Mafu Mom does not see what Mafiu is actually thinking. She only hears the words that she wants to hear. It is a one-way communication. This is peak Kariki Bear right here. Bug encompasses everything that I love about Kariki Bear's music into a song, and I absolutely love it. Bug has its massive popularity for a reason, and it is rightfully deserved. Another great song that I like to highlight is Terra-terell by Wara Takeaki. This song is both very catchy while also being meaningful to me. The snappy melody makes it memorable, which is one of Wara Takeaki's biggest strengths. To me, this is a song about creation, about putting yourself in the outside world, and about valuing your worth. There are always cliches and trends that you can follow which may lead you to popularity, but is this what you truly want to do? The feeling of not wanting to be hated and morphing into tormenting fear of doing anything, then the satisfaction of being free from said fear is also conveyed through the song. This part can also be read as being freed from the ghosts of the past, which I've just let go of not long ago. When you put out a video that has done well, you can't help but escape this feeling that you want to create more of that type of video, even if it's not what you truly wanted. Trapped between all the numbers, trapped by the desire to be known and seen. This song perfectly encapsulates my arc of forcing myself to make content I didn't care about, to being freed and doing what I truly wanted to do. I want to share the love of all things that I care about and simply be myself on YouTube. It's YouTube for a reason, after all. Out of all the lyrics in this song, this one has to be my favorite. Still, you shouldn't speak of dreams as if rating them on some review website. It shoots me in the heart and highlights what I've been subconsciously doing. I've been degrading this dream of mine to become a full-time video essayist, saying that it's impossible. But in the end, it's genuinely what I want to do. And I thank you for watching this video, watching my content and supporting me, that I am able to stand where I am now. This relates to Saki and Leonid in the sense that some listeners found Leonid's song to be cliché. Saki tries to make a song that reaches them and almost falls into the trap of making something that she can't truly call her own. In the process of creation, there's always this human desire of wanting to be loved, the innate drive to want to please others, the feeling of wanting to be cherished. But to me, the best part about creating is to be able to say that you wrote something amazing into existence, that through your sheer will and determination, you managed to make something out of nothing. But of course, it would be a crime for me not to mention the Pichiki, literally what my mascot for this channel is based on. Before the Pichiki came out, I did listen to Kyuhurin, but I never really delved into Iowa's music that much. But look at me now, Actress is my top song on Spotify with 567 listens, and being in the top 0.001% of listeners worldwide. I love both versions of Golden Number, and I am in awe at the development of their style. If you know me from Project Moon, you may know of the Mount Kyukururin MV, which got me started to take drawing more seriously. The Hichiki is Iowa showcasing their intricate storytelling and their signature winding piano melodies. I went back to listen to it to write the script, and I almost cried. It's been a year since I uploaded my retie friendship video, and so much has changed. I've lost touch with so many people that it feels like I've grown accustomed to it. My past self would have been in anguish, frustrated that our paths have split in two again. But now I realize, as much as we say goodbye, we also say hello. We meet new people and keep on treading this path that continues to unlock doors to new experiences. But that doesn't mean that we can't treasure our memories and the people in the past that have helped us. I'm dealing with my own situation much better now. I look back at my tapestry of memories sort of fondly. I'm okay now. I'm happy with where I am. And that's actually why Fructose's design is the way that it is. I just really liked the Pichiki and its aesthetic. It means a lot to me and has shaped a significant amount of my identity. I'm not crying nor am I mad. I'm simply happy with where I am. The reason why I'm putting so much emphasis on the producers is because I wasn't an OG Vocaloid fan. I don't have the same childhood memories of listening to World Is Mine or Romeo and Cinderella. I properly discovered Vocaloid alongside Project Sekai, the game opening the door for me to discover so many great songs and producers. Without the song covers, I would have never discovered bangers like songs from Kagero Project by Jin, Slow Downer by Rokuro, Track Jam by New Fruits, and so much more. Had I never played Project Sekai, I would have never gotten to experience these things, and I'm so grateful that I have. Playing Project Sekai is honestly very fun. While the gameplay is pretty standard for a rhythm game, the beat maps are fun, and always having to challenge myself is really great since I'm a wimp. I know I'm not the best gamer out there and I'm painfully mediocre, but it feels good whenever I full combo a hard song every now and then, you know? It's also really fun to have cute interactions with others in game by communicating with stickers. Although quite limiting, it leads to fun interactions where we spam Wonderboys and do other stupid things. But the charm is its stupidity. It's playing boss songs on New Year's Eve while being wasted. It's being able to feel a small connection with someone you've met in a multi-life before. I've mentioned my friends and the people around me so much because I see myself as a canvas painted by all sorts of colors by my friends. Their taste affects mine, and it is thanks to them that you see a Project Sekai video in the year 2025 from FructoseTolerant. But anyways, Project Sekai means so much to me because I've been through so many things over the course of being an enjoyer of it. I can track periods of my life based on my favorite Project Sekai characters. I've made so many friends and met so many people thanks to this franchise, bonded over character moments online and in real life. The journey to bloom of the Project Sekai characters inspires my own journey as well. So now, I can proudly say, thank you, Project Sekai.